No! No!
Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the on-track series video for the Italian Tier 10 medium tank, the Progetto 65. Now if you've not seen this series before, it's basically where we get ace tankers from Tier 5 all the way to the Tier 10. We go through the equipment loadouts and the crew setups for the tanks as I play through them, and I'll give you my general opinions on the tanks as we go through and the line as a whole. So the Italian line, well, it's one of those lines that got touched when it came over, and it's one of those that you sort of play and you feel a little bit sad at the potential that they had, but generally the line isn't the best. The auto reloaders at tier 9 and 10 were touched horrifically in terms of DPM. The tier 9 is horrendous. I am not a fan. It's definitely better now in 6.0 with the fact that crew skills make the tanks just flat out better, and that 10% extra DPM you gain on both tanks from the crew skill definitely helps them, and it definitely makes them feel a little bit more manageable. But generally, yeah, it's still not the greatest line in the universe. There's still a lot better medium tank lines out there, like the German medium tank line and the American medium tank line, and even maybe the French one, because they are good tanks, or decent tanks anyway now as well. So we're in the P.43, which is the tier 5, and yeah, it's not the best. It's not a very good tier 5, I don't think personally. The accuracy of the gun is quite bad. Now obviously you can get the crew skills, which makes it better, but generally the accuracy is still not that good. The AP pen, I think is 116. Is, yeah, so it's in line with a lot of the medium tanks at the tier, to be fair. It's only got 140 odd premium pen as well, and the DPM is definitely lacking, and you just feel it. I don't think this tank is that good generally, although it does have the kind of armor that can occasionally ricochet shells because of the weird angling at the tier, which is quite nice. That's quite a nice feature. The mobility is another thing about it that's a little bit mediocre. I wouldn't say it's a bad tank. I'd say it's just a very, very mediocre tier 5 medium tank. In terms of equipment and crew skills, actually, funnily enough, I use pretty much the same on every single tank all the way up the tiers, and that is for equipment, rammer, vents, and optics. Rammer because increase the DPM by 10%, whatever. It's just what you need to do. You really want that on pretty much every tank, especially these ones that don't have the best reload in the universe. Vents also helps that DPM, as well as the accuracy and aim time, all that lovely stuff, which is again exactly what you need for this line. And optics, because in this game you really want to be boosting your view range as high as you possibly can, because view range saturation is a very, very helpful thing for you, because you can boost all assistance you can have in tanks, and it's just generally very helpful. So in the P.43, we have basically marauded on Sunset Coast from that initial sniper position. We've got a few kills, we've got a bit of damage, and there's only a couple of people left. Our team's done really well. It basically went as Sunset Coast tends to when you get these spawns where one side charge, well, I say one side, both sides charge down the K line and then end up getting wrecked. And the one or two that go north tend to, depending on the position they manage to get caught out and farmed. So we get a nice shot into the back of this T1 Heavy. He turns around. Well, I've got health. I know I can take a shot from him. I try and duck out the way because, you know, I can take a hit. Doesn't mean you should. And he's dead. And we're just going to move up now to see if we can try and get the finish on this artillery, but he does have people running towards him. I'm kind of hoping he'll keep pulling back so I can get a shot. We can actually get a shot. Do we get to finish him? Unfortunately not. The T1 Heavy finishes him off. But it was a nice game for the Tier 5. It showed what the Tier 5 is like with its mobility, the fact that it's not really got any armour, and the gun isn't the best in the universe. And we finished that game with 3 kills, 1700 damage, ace tanker, high caliber, Confederate, 1500 base, and 950 assistance. That's what, 2.5k combined for a tier 5. It's not bad. And we're on to the next replay, which is the P.43 Bis. Now, you've got the P.43 at tier 5, the P.43 Bis at tier 6, and the P.43 TER at tier 7. The P.43 Bis is basically just the slower version of the P.43 TER, and the P.43 TER isn't the most mobile either, but they look very similar. Now, this actually has decent armour for a tier 6. It's got auto ricochet angles again, that just mean that you can ricochet shots. You can side scraping it at the tier. I will make that note. Don't bother it against tier 8s, but against a lot of tier 6s you can do alright. And this game we're actually bottom tier against tier 7s. And you're seeing right now, it's not the most mobile medium tank, but it does get a nice 240 alpha gun. That gun does lack in a little bit of penetration, but generally you can still make the most of it. And pre 6.0, again, it was one of those that was so damn derpy, it was annoying. But post 6.0, with having the crew skills, you can make it good. And that's one thing I never actually went over in the P.43, and I did use the same crew all the way up, and it's probably one that I would still use in every tank. And that is, I've got Born Leader, Rapid Loading, Track Mechanic, Situational Awareness, Sixth Sense, Camouflage Expertise, Steady Aim, Snapshot, and Run and Gun. Now, I've got Snapshot, Run and Gun, and Steady Aim because obviously you want to make these guns as good as possible, especially the lower tier ones, because the lower tier ones guns are not that good, and every little helps. Obviously, you want to make the gun reload 10% quicker because that's just what you always want. The situational awareness for the view range to be as good as possible, and obviously Born Leader obviously makes everything a lot better as well. And I've got Camouflage because especially the Progetto 65 and the Standard B, they've got pretty decent camo, and it's one thing it's always nice to have on a medium tank as well, just to buff your camo rating a little bit, make it a little bit harder for you to be spotted, and sometimes you get situations where that does help. So that's why I run that, but you could quite easily drop the camo and run firefighting or fire prevention if you don't run a fire extinguisher, just to help not get set on fire, and that can help. So in this game, in the P.43 Bis, we have done what you need to do on mines, and that is taken the hill, and we've managed to deal a good amount of damage. We've done 2k damage, 1000 assistance, we've got some good spots out as you see here, and we're going to pull back behind this bush so we hopefully don't get spotted. And see, using bush mechanics, that's what you want to do. You want to pull through the bushes so it's opaque so you can spot them, and then pull back so that they don't see you anymore, and that just improves your camouflage. We're going to see if we can get a shot at this Hellcat 105 because he is hiding behind that rock at the back, which can be annoying, but we're going to try and finish off this T150. Unfortunately, with the low pen on the standard rounds, which is about 140, we actually ricochet off his upper plate, and I'm not going to poke out again because that Hellcat 105 could finish me off with his heat rounds or AP, depending on which one he has. Artillery slaps us. We now know exactly where artillery is, but the problem is he's actually behind one of those buildings. I'm going to try and take a blind shot, try and get the gap that's there, see if he's there, but unfortunately we just miss. And I'm going to take a chance now to put a shot at that Gorinich, but it's risky because he could quite easily finish us. There's that, I think that Hellcat's still back there, and we actually bounce our premium round off of the Gorinich because we're never going to pen the Gorinich with the standard round. And I'm just hiding now because artillery could finish us, and I don't want that. The Hellcat 105 is over there still somewhere. We know he is over there. We know where the arty is. I'm just waiting for that Hellcat to get spotted, and unfortunately he's actually running away, so we're not going to get a shot at him. And see, there's that gap that I was trying to aim for earlier on, but don't quite see it. We're trying to pop a shot at this guy. Unfortunately, it just missed. In fact, we don't miss. We bounce on a Hellcat 105. Yeah. We bounced on a tank with like 3 armor. The way this game does it sometimes. And unfortunately, he crashes into the map border. And I couldn't quite see where the map border was, so I didn't. So I led the target, and unfortunately, he dies. But we finished with an epic victory. 1 kill, 2.2k damage, 2k assist, ace tanker. That's because we got that kill on the tier 7, and we just did it. And most of the people we shot at were tier 7s, for instance. So yeah, the P.43 Bis. It's not the best medium tank in the world. It's okay, but yeah, it's kind of like the rest of the line. Really, it's just mediocre medium tanks generally. So we're on to the Tier 7, and this is the P.43 TER. And the P.43 TER, well, you might be looking at it going, are you really playing the Tier 7? This is just the Tier 6, isn't it? What? He's having his on here, lads. He's having his on. This is the Tier 6. No, I assure you, this is the Tier 7. The Tier 7 gets a better gun, only marginally, I'll add. And it also gets more mobility. So you see, we're actually going at a decent rate here. 52, 53, 54. It's not the most mobile medium tank in the universe, but it's a lot quicker than the Tier 6. It gets a better power to weight, and it's just generally better. It's definitely better than the Tier 6. But, again, it categorises the line in the fact that it's just a little bit mediocre. And the gun itself is not great. So we get a nice shot into that guy there. There's a Cromwell over there that we just spot as he fires at us. We're going to dip down, play aggressively, and get into cover from that guy. And we're already up to 411 assistance. That was from that T1 or M6, I think it was an M6. And then we spot the T25/2. Unfortunately, we don't get a shot into him. And we're just going to try and get some shots into these guys and stay a little bit safe. Now, the playstyle for this tank and the Tier 6 is pretty much identical. You want to just try and keep popping shots at people. Try and keep yourself in positions where you're not out in the open, not getting caught out, and you can try and bounce shots, because I mean this tank can bounce shots, as you've just seen. We've bounced the T25/2 there. Obviously we didn't bounce the Cromwell, but we drove sideways out in front of him, because the upper plate, like I say, can be troll and you can bounce. Now we're waiting for that T25/2 to come and try and get a shot at us. We've got a shot underneath this Cromwell, and you see we slap it straight into his turret. He really has to adjust under that Cromwell wreck to try and shoot us, whereas we have the perfect aim underneath him to be able to see him. We get 2 shots into him. Unfortunately, he manages to finally smack us one. The Craft Panther goes in, so it's like, okay, we're going to help you out, Craft Panther. We YOLO past the T25/2 and progress up the flank. When you move up onto this position on Arctic region, you've got to be careful, because there can be people camping at G1, and that G1 position over there on the right hand side can really do you over from this position, because they can snipe you and damage you as you try to progress down this flank, but they won't get spotted that easily if they've got good camo. And they've got, like, E25s are a nightmare. And well, I mean, we're a P.43 TER at Tier 7. They know all about E25s. E25s can be a nightmare from that position, because they can literally just sit there unspotted for so long and just wreck the shots out. You'll never spot them, and it's so annoying. Now, right there, I actually thought this SU-152 was AFK. So when the artillery got spotted, it was like, well, we've got to shoot the piggy. AFK SU-152, sure, but piggy's got to die first. And then he started moving. So I'm not too sure what that SU-152 was doing. Whatever, man. I don't know. I don't know what people do in this game anymore. But yeah. So we shut down that SU. We get a nice snapshot into that 244 to finish him off. We're just looking for another kill now. We've got those 2 over there that are spotted up. We know where they are, so we're going to try and get over to them before our team kill them. We've obviously got to follow the contours here. We'll try and snap a shot, and I think that penned. Yeah, I think that penned and went in. It was a nice shot from the move. This gun has actually been quite good for us in this game. It's not always like this, trust me. Yeah, it's not always like this. Unfortunately, we don't get a shot into the back of the KV-3, and he gets shut down. So we finished that game with the epic victory, come top. And we actually got a top gun out of that game, which was nice. We got 6 kills, 2.6k damage, 1,000 assistance, ace tanker, like I say, high caliber top gun. We actually got towards the first mark before I think I was way before the first mark, and I managed to get that while I was trying to get the ace for this tank. 1,600 base, generally a nice tank for the Tier 7, which is okay. But there's just a lot better Tier 7s out there. The T20 does the job of that tank a lot better. The Comet's, I feel, better than it. It's just, yeah, it's... What can I say about it, really? It's kind of just mediocre. But we're now on to the Tier 8, which is the P.44 Pantera. And there is 2 ways to play this. and 2 ways to set the tank up. But I thought I'd go for, it's probably slightly more competitive, it's probably slightly better off because of the fact that you gain more than you lose, pretty much. And that is, I've got the 3-shot auto reloader on it. Now, if you want to have the auto reloader with 3 shots, you've got to have the top turret, and with that, you gain 8 degrees of gun depression instead of 5. You gain better view range as well. You better turret traverse, and yeah, you just gain a little bit more from it than I think you actually lose, to be fair. And if you put the stock turret in, you actually get a 2-shot. With that stock turret is the way that I have been playing the Pantera, because you get way better DPM. You get a 2-second intro clip instead of a 2.5-second intro clip, which is what this tank gets. And you only have 2 shots, which takes you about 14 seconds to load, which is really, really, really nice. And that DPM is fantastic. And a double shot, just like the Barask in the video you saw yesterday, and in the Stone Cold, a double shot auto loader or auto reloader is very, very nice and can be very effective at dealing damage, getting kills. And I much prefer it, but to be honest, I think this gun and this turret configuration is probably more competitive, and the way you should probably run it, because of the gun depression making it more accessible to play in different areas on the maps. You get better accuracy as well, I forgot about that, it's 0.33 instead of 0.35. So that's why I thought I'd run this gun to show you guys instead of the other one. If you want to see the other one, I've got another Pantera video on the channel, you can go see what that double shot is like. But yeah, this gun's definitely better. So, we're on vineyards. And actually, to be fair, I'll add on to that other point, that if you really cannot stand the reload of this tank, and think, you know what, I could give up the 5 degrees of gun depression and the 10 meters extra view range, I'll just run the stock gun and have better reload. That's my point to add to that. So like I say, this has worse DPM, sorry, but it's got 3 shots, which can be nicer for 720 clip. So anyway, yeah, we're on vineyards, and we've pushed across the AB line, which is a very nice push, because when you're pushing towards the town, you've got lots of dips and dives to go into that you can basically advance quite safely and spot out with. So we're going to push down this 1-2 line across these ditches to try and see if we can get shots at the guys in the town and on the camper hills. We get a nice shot on the move into this Tiger P, which is something we might not have got if we're using double shot, because like I said, the worse accuracy and worse dispersions while moving. That's it, it's one of those things that you gain way better DPM, but you do lose a lot. It's your choice, and that's how you set it up, but I say this is the more competitive way. We get a nice shot into the back of the T-32. We're going to see if we can... I have no idea why I did that. No idea. We'll see if we can get a shot into that other Tiger P, and we just took a random shot, auto-aimed. And we wasted one of our shells in the clip, which we just shouldn't have done. Because we would have been reloaded by... we would have had 3 shots there instead of 2, and we would have reloaded a lot quicker. It's always about holding your fire for the most opportune moment in auto-reloaders. That's just the way you've got to play them. So I'm seeing that no bad. I'm thinking, you know, I might have to wait here to load my full clip, because I don't want to have a really bad reload against this guy. So you see, we're waiting, and we get a shot into him. We're going to see if we can finish him, but unfortunately he gets into the abbey over there, or the castle, or the mansion, or whatever that is, and we don't get to finish him. But we do get to finish that King Tiger. So we're going to now move up. There's the medium tank on our left, which is a Barask. I was trying to think, is that a batch at 12T? No, it's a Barask, because it's the same tank, but with a bigger gun. And unfortunately we didn't get to shoot and finish him off, but there's this guy in front of us. We snap a shot into the Samua, and unfortunately he managed to get a shot into us, which means we're not that healthy. The artillery gets spotted on our right. We're going to see if we can get a shot at him, but unfortunately for us, we're not going to do that. Kaiser's going to be able to finish him off, and there's just the Barask and the light tank left, and we're going to see if we can finish this Barask. We fully aim the shot, we get one in, and unfortunately we didn't quite get to finish him again. Kaiser got the finish, or actually the Panther got the finish, and we finished that game anyway with a nice haul for the Pantera. So if this end screen ever wants to finish, because this is just a thing you have with the 1S and the 1 where it just doesn't work. We finished with 5 kills, 2.7k damage, brothers in arms, ace tanker, a very nice game for the Pantera, 2.9k damage, 694 assists, 1600... 2.8, I'm looking at the wrong score, 1600 base, 2.7k damage. Just a generally nice game. 800 assists as well. The Pantera is quite a nice tank, although the Progetto 46, the premium, the Ariete, is just a lot better tank. I think the Ariete is just so much better than that tank, and the Ariete is a lot of fun to play. I do love that tank. It's a fantastic tank, the premium version, and yeah, it's well worth picking up as well if they ever do that deal. Progetto 46 or the Ariete, they're both the same tank. So we're on to the Standard B now, and now this is a tank that I really truly detested. Pre 6.0, post 6.0, I don't detest it, I just still dislike it. Now you might be like, why did you detest it? Well, the reload is dreadful. That's number one. The intercalate isn't that great. I mean, 14.4 seconds is what it is now, and that's with the best we can possibly have it with vents, rammer, the 10% crew boost, born leader. You know, it was worse pre 6.0 than that. It was more than 15 seconds, and it's honestly horrid. And 0.35 accuracy on the gun as well didn't feel great. But now with the crew skills, you get it down to about 0.25 accuracy, and the gun feels incredibly reliable. And with that reload being generally better, it's more manageable, and you feel like you can do a lot more. It can still be rather annoying though, especially, it's one of those tanks though, when you missing, you feel it. Because with a reload that's that bad, you just feel the reload. You miss and you go, oh. And then you end up just sitting there twiddling your thumbs. So we're waiting for the reload. We pop a shot into the ISM. And you know what? He's got tracked in front of us. I'm thinking, you know what? I can finish this guy off. We're just going to get rid of him. We finish off the ISM. And we're up to 2.1k damage in 2 minutes, which is not bad. But we're going to have to wait for like 50 odd seconds to reload this gun. So we're basically going to be sitting here twiddling our thumbs. This position we're in on cliff is aggressive. It's great. But it's high risk, high reward for me, I think, my opinion, obviously. Because you can rush this position and have most of their team rush it, and then you die, you don't do anything. That's why it's high risk. To add to that, artillery love to rain shots in on this position. So if you get spotted up, they can have their wicked way with you, which is not nice. And yeah, so it's high risk, but when it comes off, you get great shots like this. And if you win this side, you can get good shots into their base and spot them. So we've got nice shots into the sides of these guys. We managed to finish off the 53 TP, and now we're getting farmed by an Emil 1, which is annoying. We take the shot here at the Emil 1 because I'm thinking, oh goodness me, I'm about to get clipped out by this guy. I might die. So I take the shot to see if I can hit him, and unfortunately we end up bouncing. But luckily enough for me, that's where wiggling comes in. Because this tank doesn't really have that much armour. It's very similar to the Leopard PTA in the fact that it doesn't have any armour. But you can ricochet the odd shot off the turret randomly, just because of angling. But wiggling is important, because I wiggled so much that he was aiming for my hull. He ended up just hitting my tracks in a place where he couldn't pen me. Therefore, tracked me only, and I got away with it. Now we're trying... Well, we do pop a shot into that TVP VTU, and now we're just going to wait for the reload. And we're going to try and spot up their base through these bushes. And we actually end up spotting a tortoise, and we spot the piggy. Piggy must die. So we're going to drop both shots into the piggy to kill him before he gets away. And then that tortoise is there. Now I'm going to wait for my reload here. There's still the TVP on the hill that could shoot me here if I get spotted. But I'm just going to wait for this reload to get the second shell in. And we'll get a shot into the side of the tortoise before he gets behind the building. We're stuck in a semi-bad reload right now. It's not the worst it could be because we've got one shell in the clip, but I am looking for a shell at this TVP because it's still in the back of my mind, right, that this guy could just get a shot at me and then I'd be a one-shot for anything if they randomly took a shot, because there's still a lot left alive. So anything could be unspotted down there and pop a shot at me. Unfortunately, the gun derps and we hit the floor in front of that TVP. It's kind of annoying, but that's the way it is. I'm waiting for this reload to go in. That T30 gets unspotted. We get a shot into the tracks of that guy, pen him as well. We're going to get some lovely assisted on him. Again, we're just going to wait for the reload. We don't want to blow our load too soon, because otherwise we're just going to waste opportunities. We can pen the roof of that T-Tortoise from here. We can also pen the machine gun port. And I'm thinking now is the time, right? We're going to pop 2 shots into him, and now we're going to move forwards. Now, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait for shots of this King Tiger to try and get that second shell in, just so I don't destroy my DPM. Unfortunately enough for me, I do get the shot in to kill him. And I'm looking at this Tortoise, and I can't kill him in 1 shot, so I'm thinking, I'm going to move up to get a better shot at him, because we can pen the machine gun port on his right, like I say. But I'm going to wait for that shell to go in. Now we've got a slim shot at his cupola. It flies in, luckily enough for me, and then the second shot flies in as well, just what we wanted. And we finished that game with a very nice total for the Standard B. And it just showed the gun can be derpy with some of the shots that you had at the TVP. Also, how long and how much the game has to go on for you to have a decent game, because you end up just sitting there twiddling your thumbs for quite a while waiting for it to reload. And we finished that game with an ace tanker, high caliber, top gun, 1800 base XP, 6 kills, 5.6k damage, and 392 assistance. That was 6k combined for the tier 9 Italian medium tank, and it was generally a nice game for it. And it can be nice in certain situations. It's one of those things. It's just a pretty irritating tank at times, especially if you miss your shells, because then the gun and the reload starts to become more and more annoying. The more shells you miss with it, the more annoyed you become, because you just sit there twiddling your thumbs. And it's something that happens in this tank too. And we're at the pinnacle of the line now. We're at the Progetto 65. Now, the rest of the line had armour, except for the Standard B. The Standard B doesn't have armour, really. This tank actually has armour. Turret armour it doesn't really have. In terms of the hull armour, it's not the thickest, but it's very, very well angled. And you can ricochet a lot of shots on this tank. And it's quite funny, back in the day with 275 pen Hesh, the amount of times you shoot these things in the front, you hit the upper plate and you don't actually pen. That's because it's where you would have ricocheted with APCR or anything like that. APCR is a nightmare against this tank. Sometimes if you don't hit the lower plate, you'll just ricochet off the upper plate. I will put it out there, the upper plate is pretty nice on this tank. The mobility is great on this tank. The mobility is delightful. And the one thing this tank has, and it had this pre-6.0 as well, is a laser accurate gun. The gun is fabulous. It's just the reload that's a little bit disappointing. But with 10% extra DPM in post 6.0, it's not too bad, if I'm totally honest. You do feel like you can do a lot more in this tank. Like I say, pre 6.0, it wasn't great. So, unfortunately, we bounced a shot off of that 140, and I decided, you know what, I might take 2 hits here, but I'm going to delete all of his health. I'm going to get rid of that guy, because he's just going to sit in that position and really irritate us. So I blow the whole clip, and now, blowing the whole clip, you're seeing a slight issue with the tank. We've got it's less than 60 seconds now, it's probably just above 50, but we're just going to end up having to sit here for ages. This 140, I managed to reload the second shell in, and I thought, you know what, I'll finish this guy off with the 2 shells I had in. And unfortunately, Russian side armor said no. And as you see, I was a little bit irritated there, because again, like I say, you bounce shells, you miss shells with the auto reloaders, you get frustrated because you end up wasting opportunities to do damage. You waste a lot of opportunities generally to get anything done, and you have so much downtime that you end up just sitting around like this in the middle of the abbey, chilling, waiting. So we've got 2 shells in at the minute, and we're waiting for the third to go in. We're only 6 seconds away. We've got this M103 here. I can finish him off, but I'm just waiting for that reload. I don't want to have to wait around again for ages. We get the reload in. We put 1 in. We're going to finish him off because we want the kill. Because that is one thing these auto reloaders are really good at, and that is securing kills, because you can fire at will. You can have 1 shell in reloaded, you can finish a tank off, or you can have 4 in and fire 1, and then feel like you're not wasting the opportunity in your clip. So I'm going to wait for the reload here to shoot at this IS-4. He's on fire, but he's doing exactly what we want in Abbey, and that is for them to YOLO across this open field where our cap would be if it was normal spawns. We pop 2 in to finish the IS-4, and we're going to pop the food now to make sure that we get the best DPM we possibly can out of it, and we're just going to wait for the shell to go in. And now that third shell's in, I can clip this a mill. So I'm going to clip him out and finish him, so again, we secure the kill. I can tell you the amount of times, though, I've decided to fire all 3, and then the final shell hits the tank just as they die. It can be annoying, I'll tell you. Just, I cannot stress enough with this line just how long it takes to reload the clips sometimes, and how long you feel like you're having to wait. If somebody all-ins you, you will struggle. So we've only got 2 shells in, but we decide when we get spotted to finish off. I say finish off? No, finish off, to get a shell into that E50. Unfortunately, we can't quite see the tusk. I'm quite thirsty for the kill, because we've killed quite a few tanks already, and I'm feeling it. Obviously, there's no prompt on screen like there used to be with the ribbons to tell us how many kills we've got, but I'm feeling like it's quite a few. So I'm really wanting this tusk. I'm really wanting it, but unfortunately, I can't quite get it. I'm looking now for the E50, because that E50 is not healthy, and I'm hoping, beyond hope, that he'll pull back around that corner and I'll get to finish him off. But the heavy tank over there looks like he's got it. And actually, from this position I've got myself in, it's quite a nice position, because these guys are now YOLOing across their cap area. And unfortunately, we missed the first shot, which means that we've now not got the opportunity to finish this Progetto. So I'm going to wait for the third shell again. It's all about using the shells correctly and knowing when you can kill something. We wait for that third shell so our DPM didn't deteriorate, so that we knew we could finish off the Progetto, and we did. And now we pop the food again, so we hopefully will get as quick a reload as possible. And I'm thinking, right, this position has kind of outlived its usefulness. There's just me, a medium and a heavy against the TD that's in their base, the other heavy tank and 2 artillery. We know where the RT is. I was trying to get across to there without sliding, and I want to go get their artillery, because, well, the RT can rain death upon us. If anyone gets spotted, it's going to hurt. So I want to get rid of them. I know the artillery was spotted in this area over here at like B7, 8 in these bushes. And I'm just thinking, please don't do it. And he is actually sat in those bushes still. I'm like, don't do it. And unfortunately, we missed that shot on the move. Would have been really helpful to have hit that. But we're just going to keep going over here. Now I'm going to take a risk. And I'm going to take a very big one at that. And that is that this Batchat could shoot us over this ridge line. And he actually does, but fortunately enough, he doesn't pen us, which could have been bad. And the first shell that we actually fired hit the gun of the Batchat, of course, did no damage. But we managed to clip him out and finish him off. The T-62A managed to finish off the Super Conqueror that was in the middle. Now there's just an artillery and the TD. We know where the TD was. And the artillery shell that fired at us a minute ago was again from towards their base area. So I'm going to sort of move over. And I was thinking about moving over to go get it, but it's actually like, should I get the artillery, or should we go get the TD? I'm thinking, you know what, let's get the gun out of the game, because our guy's capping the STRV 1030. We know exactly where he is. It's a pleb, which we didn't know until we actually started shooting at him. We know where he is. He is in this area over here. And I'm thinking, this is going to be difficult, because the STRV 1030 has amazing camo, and most of the time he's going to outspot me. I know I can take a hit, but it's going to be risky. So we pop up here, and as you see, we don't spot him, and it's like, what is going off? But then he fires at us. So we do spot him, we pop a shot into his cupola, we're risking it for a biscuit, we pop another shot in, and we're going to see if we can get the kill, but unfortunately T-57 Heavy finishes off, aka Rollo Tomosi, who is someone that watches the channel. He's in Pleb Clan, and he's also in our Discord down below, by the way. And I'm going to put this out there quickly, where we just saw where that artillery shell went. The second clan for Plebs is full. The third clan is now open, and it's in the link in the description below. If you want to apply, you have to apply for the third clan, otherwise you won't get him, because you only get a limit of 100 on clans, unfortunately. But we saw, in terms of this game anyway, we saw where the artillery fired from, and we went and finished it off. So we finished that game with a victory. 6 kills, 5.9k damage, 1100 assistance, Pascucci's medal, sniper medal, high caliber, and the top gun, and generally a nice game for this Progetto 65. And the tank is pretty nice. It's quite a fun tank to play. It's fun to use the auto reloaders. It's just that reload, if it was just like a second or two better, it would be a hell of a lot nicer to play. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A great success!